It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus, episode number 18 here in season number 3, our 6th episode here in semester number 2. My name is Matt Menzel. We have a jam-packed show. I mean, when I say jam-packed, we have a trio of guests, a special treat. We have 3 over the course of the next half hour plus, and then we will take a couple of weeks off for spring break and return with Falcon Focus on the 29th of March. In segment number 3, we talk women's lacrosse with their only head coach, Emily Shesso. In segment number 2, cheerleading. We will be joined by freshman Carly Sia Plummer Lawrence. But at first, a member of the dance team, that being a senior in Emily Shu, kind enough to join us here on this Tuesday. Emily, thanks for your time. How did you get involved in the sport of dance?
It's kind of a long story, but I'll make it real short.
We have time, though.
My sister actually was part of like a dance team or dance studio, and she was the one who kind of like got me involved in the entire sport. So I saw her, and I instantly wanted to do everything that she did because she's my older sister. And I wanted to be just like her. So she's kind of like the main reason why I got involved in the first place. And then as I went through the studio, it kind of grew on me, and it became my own thing. And I am so excited and proud to be on the member here at Concordia.
Well, absolutely. And you graduated from Sheboygan Area Lutheran High School. According to your bio, you lettered in dance for 3 years. You captained the squad for a couple of years.
Yep.
Just curious, from a dance team perspective, when you're a captain of a team, what does that entail? What does that mean?
What I think of for it means to be a captain is definitely being there for the girls whenever they need anything. If there's an issue, if they can't make it to practice, if they're just going through rough stuff, always being there for them. I recently was able to choreograph some dances, so I choreographed 2 in high school. I choreographed 1 here in college, a contemporary routine that we've never done before, so it's really exciting. But honestly, just being there for them is a huge issue.
You came here to Concordia. First off, why Concordia?
Concordia, Wisconsin was kind of my only choice. I didn't really want to go to any other college, but a really big reason why I came here is because of the faith aspect, and because they honestly had, like, from what I saw, a great dance team program, and that's kind of, I wanted to continue my career in that, so that's why I came here.
I was going to ask you that. So dance team played a big factor in coming to Concordia.
Yes.
What was it about the dance team that attracted you to Concordia? What aspects of it? What did you know? What did you see that said, hey, this is where I could continue my dance career?
Yeah, so I watched a bunch of the routines online, actually, and that's kind of what got me to like really, really consider Concordia over other schools, was because I saw what they did with the program. I saw like all of their winning titles that they did, and I was like, I want to be a part of that community. I want to be a part of that team. I want to grow and enhance in my dance team skills.
Like every other sport, for the dance team, no exception. You have seniors that come and go. You have freshmen that enter into the picture. And you've been with this program for the last number of years. So every year you essentially have a new team, or at least some new faces. Does it take time? They all, obviously, every athlete, every dancer comes from different athletic backgrounds. Does it take some time to just, kind of get used to one another, get that rhythm, to figure out who can do what?
It does take a little bit of time. However, dance team is like a really long season, so the first maybe like a month or a half, it takes a while just to like get to know their names, get to know where they come from, what their major is, even getting to know who they are as a person. But after that first couple of months, it definitely does get easier. Each year, we only get like, I want to say like maybe 3 to 5 new girls.
Okay.
So it's not like the same team. Obviously, I'm with a completely new set of girls than I was my freshman year, even new coaches and everything. But you grow with those girls along the years that you do stick with, the girls who are younger than you or maybe older than you. So it does take a little bit of time to get used to like a completely new team, but it's not a new team every single year.
It is a younger squad this year with 4 freshmen, 7 sophomores, couple of juniors. You're the lone listed senior.
Yep.
So how's the year gone thus far, and is it all coming together now with so many new faces or younger faces?
Yeah, the season's actually gone really good. We are an extremely strong team this year, and I am So, like, I'm incredibly proud of all of the freshmen and the sophomores for all of their hard work. It's crazy to see how much they've grown since the beginning of the semester. Um, I love my team. I love all of the ladies. They're amazing, and they've been working so hard this year, and I'm so proud of them.
Typically for Falcon fans, we get to see the dance team perform at halftime of the football home games, a number of the basketball home games at halftime. How much time typically goes into a routine?
It's a tough question to answer. Basketball routines are very different from football routines. So for basketball or for football, we mainly just do a simple routine for that because we don't have a lot of much time to like clean the routine and make it look good. But for basketball, we typically do our competition routines, and those can take like up to a few weeks to learn, and then another like 2 months to actually make it look really, really good. So a lot of time goes into it, not just in practice, but outside of practice, like working on it on our own, memorizing it, be able to make sure that like we know what we're doing, where we're supposed to go in the routine and stuff like that.
There's a lot of details that go into a performance that don't always, the fans don't always get to see or think about. And my question for you is, who determines the dance moves or you choreograph the routine? How does that get figured out? The music to dance to, the outfits to wear, how's that, and maybe what routine to pick for a certain halftime show. How does that all get decided?
That's mainly decided by the coaches, and they do want us to give our input, like how we feel about the routine, if we think we're ready for it, to perform it. So they mainly pick. We only have every year we get like new pom uniform, or we get new hip hop uniforms, and we kind of have like the same pom dresses throughout the season. But the coaches definitely pick that out. They see how it looks. We don't personally know how it looks unless they video it because we're supposed to be in the routine, so we don't know how it fully looks. But it's mainly up to the coaches, but they also want our input to know how we feel about it going into it, if we're ready to do it, if we're unsure about different stuff.
What are the different categories, if you will? You mentioned hip-hop. What are some of the different dances?
So we mainly compete in pom and hip-hop. That's mainly all we do, but we also, this year, me and my co-captain, Sydney Farber, we didn't compete, but we performed a contemporary lyrical dance, which Concordia has, I believe, never done in the past on the dance team, which is really exciting. A lot of the girls were really excited about it, but it's mainly just those two dances that we do compete. Lyrical, we won't go to like a competition with it. It's just something that we do for fun.
Is it challenging? I have to believe it is. You dance at halftime of a football game, and who knows what the weather's going to be. There's different noise factors around the campus, so maybe harder to hear the music versus being inside the John Book Fieldhouse where the speaker system sometimes could be very loud, Ron. But you look back, when you look at the differences, are there challenges being indoor versus outdoor?
Yes, so outdoor for football, it's definitely harder to hear the music. There's kind of like a kind of an echo effect that we hear out on the field, basically versus here in the field house. So out in the field, while we're dancing, the music for the crowd is different than it is for us.
Okay.
So we almost have to be like ahead of it versus in here, it's the same for the crowd and for us, so we can actually be like more on time with it.
And by the way, when I make that Ron reference, he's got a history. We love him, but he's got a history of blowing out some speakers. But you look back after a performance is done. Do you guys go back and watch video? Do you critique the performance? Do you make tweaks?
Yes. That is like 100. That is literally like 75% of our time is making changes to the dance so it looks better for competitions mainly.
How bummed were you? I know it's one of the bigger events. CIT was canceled, and obviously with COVID, but I know it's a big competition there to see who's the best of the best, if you will, of Concordia dance teams.
Yeah, I'm incredibly sad that it got canceled this year. I was so excited to go to Nebraska. It was another college I was looking at, but it was mainly just Concordia, Wisconsin all the way. But I was extremely sad. I am happy that we've had the trophy now for, I think it's about 2 to 3 years.
Collecting dust now.
Exactly. We still have it. We're still going strong. I'm excited for next year because of CIT, and I think we will have an awesome team next year as well.
The team did compete at the Illinois Collegiate Dance Invite that was held at Concordia, Chicago back on February the 20th. How did that event all work out, and what kind of the format?
It was very stressful because hip-hop wasn't as well known as it should have been.
Okay.
But I definitely am proud of the girls for how they pulled it together. We got second in pom and second in hip hop, which was insane. There were a few solos that performed that were just beautiful and amazing. But for the most part, it was stressful because any competition is going to be stressful, but hip hop, we weren't sure about it. So like I'm incredibly proud of the girls for pulling that off and getting that second.
You mentioned the second place finish in the pom competition, hip hop as well. You were among these strong solo competitions. So overall, you thought they went well?
Yes, I believe it went very well.
Eventually, North Central, at least as far as teams go, they would win the team title. Which competition is your favorite and why?
I gotta say CIT. CIT will always be my favorite competition. But this year, I definitely am excited for conference at MSOE. Conference is just like an amazing competition to be at, and I do think we're gonna have a very, very big, very strong win. So I am excited for that.
When is that?
That is April 3rd.
Okay, so what goes into between now and then? What do you guys do to prepare for that?
We mainly just keep going through our pom and hip hop routines that we're going to be performing there. We clean it up. We change some stuff that may be difficult or too difficult for us to do, or maybe some girls just aren't getting it. But it's mainly just like keep running through the routines, keep doing them over and over again, conditioning, building up our stamina and stuff like that.
So finally now, you're a senior. As your time winds down, maybe next year or so here at Concordia, what's your major? And do you have another year of dance in you?
So my major is secondary education English, so I want to be a high school teacher.
Okay.
I do get an extra year of being on the dance team because of COVID, so I have talked to my coaches about that to see if I could do a 5th year, which I really want to do because I love the girls on the team that we have. They are amazing dancers. I believe we are going to go far. We're going to do nationals next year. That's one of our like major goals. So I am excited for a 5th year, and I do really want to do it. I want to be a part of this team, for as long as I can until I do eventually go out and start my career.
Well, you mentioned, okay, maybe being a high school teacher. Could you be maybe a dance coach or dance teacher as well?
That is a dream
plan?
job I would have, yes.
There you go.
Yep.
Emily, appreciate your time. All the
Thank
best
you.
with conference coming up. And when we come back here on Falcon Focus, our focus switches to cheerleading as we continue here on Falcon Focus on the Falcon Athletic Network.
It shouldn't take a storm of biblical proportions to find out who you can count on. It shouldn't take a 4-foot diameter oak tree in your kitchen to find out who you can trust. It shouldn't take the worst to bring out our best. But sometimes it does. And that's the silver lining.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Falcon Focus, episode number 18. A trio of guests. We have an extra extended version of Falcon Focus before a couple of weeks off for spring break and then back at it on Tuesday, the 29th of March. We go from dance team to cheerleading and being joined by freshman Carly Sia Plummer Lawrence, a freshman here on the Concordia campus, and again, mentioned part of the Falcon cheerleading squad. How long have you been a cheerleader?
Actually, I'm going to make a quick correction.
Okay.
I am a junior.
Oh, a junior.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get that updated on the website. They're giving you extra years.
Yeah.
If you want them.
I before college, I'd never cheered before.
Okay.
I played softball and golf in high school, and then did some other sports. But my freshman year of college, my friends convinced me to join the cheer team because our cheer coach just so happened to be the coach of our high school team, and a lot of my friends we traveled from high school here together. So and then the coach, she moved from our high school to Concordia, and she convinced them, join the team with her. They were like, okay, come on, Carly, come join the team with us. I'm like, okay, I've never done this before, but it doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, yeah.
So tell me one thing. Have you been on this campus then for 3 years?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I want that emoji face and palm right now because you've been a freshman on the website for 3 years. Anyways, so you talked about being in cheerleading, how you got started. What's your favorite part about cheerleading?
I think my favorite part about cheerleading is actually my team. I think we've grown so much together. My freshman year, I was new, and some of those girls already had those bonds.
Mm-hmm.
I think growing together and competing together and just hanging and spending time with each other, and doing team natural team bonding together is one of my favorite parts.
Sure. Cheerleading at the collegiate level. there pressure there? I mean, you look at, it's a higher level of competition, bigger games. You look at like this past weekend, you have the NAC men's basketball tournament final. Do you feel a lot of pressure, going out there and giving it your all?
I think there's some pressure when it comes to competitions because I want to go out there, our team, we want to go out there, we want to go do our best. But I think at the end of the day, it's just we try to make it fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of pressure there, but this is still something that we want to do and that we enjoy doing, so it's fun doing. Even at the basketball games, being at the basketball games, it's really fun, even though there's tons of people and our team is kind of on the small side. It's about us having fun, cracking jokes with each other on the sideline, cheering for the men's basketball team, just having fun with it, just kind of releases all the pressure.
You graduated from Milwaukee Lutheran High School.
Yes.
You were a Red Knight.
Yes.
Did you participate in any other events or sports outside of, getting involved in cheerleading?
So in high school, I did 4 years on the softball team.
Okay.
And my junior and senior year, I was on the girls' golf team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was really fun. Golf is something that I always watch. It was oh my gosh, this is boring. And then I actually got to play, and I was like, this is really hard. Kudos to all the golf players out there, because that is really hard and it's a lot of focus. And switching I would go from the spring from softball, and then I go to the fall to golf, and the way my arms are supposed to move is all different. So I had to retrain myself from the way I swing a bat to the way I swing in golf.
I was going to ask you the mental aspect of it, because you hear that so often. Golfers, whether it be baseball, softball, just again the whole swing and the movement. How long did it take you? Okay, you spent your junior and senior year golfing.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to kind of get used to the proper form and how to swing a golf club?
I think my junior year, I think my coach was really patient with me. And before we went to go out and compete or whatever, he would have us go up to and go practice just hitting balls, ball after ball after ball, until we just got it right. I think it's just I needed to focus on my form. It was just more of a focus thing. So it took maybe a couple months to just really get it right. Yeah.
So what led you then from Milwaukee Lutheran to come to Concordia?
There's a lot of Concordia influence at Milwaukee
Sure.
Lutheran. Yeah,
that is true.
I think the old vice principal, he was in admissions at Concordia, and Concordia is something that's it's talked about a lot at Milwaukee Lutheran. So it's just it was a natural, it was a gradual change from high school to come here, because there are also familiar faces here, a lot of alumni, previous alumni that went to Milwaukee Lutheran that I saw when I was a freshman, and they're maybe juniors and seniors. They were here when I got here, so it made it it was just comfortable. Yeah.
The cheerleading team, when you look at numbers, are 18 right now on the listed roster. Tell us about the squad, how much fun it is to be around this team.
A lot of the girls on the team are my friends outside of cheer. We went to high school together. Two of the girls were on the exec board for BSU together. We're actually friends in real life.
Okay.
So it makes it easier to get along with each other and have fun with each other. And the girls that aren't in those things, they're girls that I've cheered with before, my freshman year. So it's just I think it's just easy because
Sure.
we know each other. It's fun. We keep it lighthearted. We have fun with our coach. Or outside of it being serious, it's it's fun. We get to crack jokes. It's just lighthearted.
Does it take a lot of time to learn the different cheers, routines?
I think cheers, it's not that hard because it's just, it's just the same thing over and over again.
Sure.
That's kind of easy. I think it's just trying to remember them. I think that's where I know I struggle is in the moment at the games, what's the motions for that cheer? Oh my gosh, I can't get it. But routines is we really work hard to make sure it sticks. Our past routine, I can tell you how many times I was doing it in practice. If we're doing it in big group of practice, I mess up, I'm going to step to the side and come on, I know you know this. Let's do it again. I've gone in my room and took my full-size mirror and done it in front of the mirror and made sure I got it, just try to get it in. So that's a little hard for me because dancing is in my strong suit, but it's no, we're going to get this. We're not going to embarrass myself. I'm not going to embarrass my team. We're going to sit down. We're going to get this. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite cheer? A go-to?
I think our defense cheer is one of my favorite cheers because it's something that the girls on the team came up with, and it kind of reminds me of stump cheer because it just goes deep defense,
Okay.
and we stump with it, and it's kind of fun.
Well, that's fun. And,
Yeah.
and to get the crowd behind you, especially in an electric atmosphere like this, and that's
Yeah.
got to be a lot of fun
Yeah.
to feed off that energy. So when you look at this, at your career time with the Falcons so far, what's it like to cheer, to perform, as mentioned, at games like Sunday here inside the John Book Fieldhouse, where you just have the crowd and everyone's just ready to cheer and be loud?
Yeah, I think at games like that, like I said previously, our team is like kind of small compared to like the huge crowd.
Yeah.
So like, and we're also kind of quiet, so it makes it kind of hard like to do our cheers. So I think what I like best is just that we feed off the crowd's energy. So if they're doing a defense cheer, we're just gonna try to make it even louder. If they're loud, we're gonna try to add that extra to it and just like, just try to like add instead of like trying to be like, I don't want to say try to be different, but like.
Sure.
But adding to the excitement that's going on instead of us being on the sidelines being quiet, just, adding that extra oomph to it.
Back on December 11th, I saw the Falcon cheerleading team participate in a virtual competition.
Yes.
How did that work? That had to be unique.
Yeah, it was because we were all prepared to like go somewhere and go and cheer in front of a crowd, and then like our coach was like, "No, that got canceled. It's virtual now." But I think I like that because it was here. It was like in the bleachers, like it was in our gym. We got to like go through it a couple times. And then like there were some parents and friends in the stands watching us. So that was nice and like comfortable. Yeah, it was just a really nice time. And like we got to, our coach talked to us, gave us a pep talk, and we got to spend the day together and just, I don't know, it was really just, it was a new experience, but it was okay.
The CIT cheer competition got canceled in January, but the team was able to compete at the Wisconsin Association of Cheer Pom Coaches Cheer Finals in Oshkosh on February the 19th, placing second in both the college game day and the college co-ed competitions. First of all, what does the college game day event entail? What does that mean?
Well, our game day event is basically like our school song, a band chant, stunts, and I believe there's some tumbling there. It's just, it's like very like hype things, like we're moving around a whole bunch, trying to get the crowd interacted. We have signs, we have just everybody doing everything. Everybody's always moving. There isn't like a dull moment in game day, like because at the end of game day, if I'm not out of breath and my throat isn't on almost sore, it's like then I didn't do game day right. Like yeah.
And then what is college co-ed competition? Is it kind of self-explanatory?
Yeah, co-ed is like we have Lane on the team, so him and Khalid, they do their thing with their stunts, which is so cool. And then there's we do our dance, and then we do a cheer, and then we do like have our jump sequence, and just like everything that game day isn't is what traditional is. It's like it's stunting, it's dancing, it's cheering, it's just fun.
UW Stevens Point won the title in both those events. Falcons taking second in both. In your opinion, how did the day overall go for Concordia?
I think the day went amazing. I think that was our second time competing in front of a big crowd because for a lot of us, for a lot of the girls, their first time competing was at nationals.
Okay.
And that went, how it went. And then we came back. I think after that, we practiced a lot. Like I think the week of state, we had 5 a.m. practice every day. So we were in here, we were hitting the mats, just trying to get ready. So when we got there, we did game day. We killed game day. Everybody loved game day. Our coach loved it. We loved it. We were all excited about it. And then traditional happened, and that went great. It just went amazing. Like I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed watching the local schools.
Sure.
I think me and my teammates talked about there's a difference in being at nationals and at state. At nationals, nobody really knows who Concordia is because we're a smaller college in the Midwest. But there at state, it's we know these schools. These are I'm from Milwaukee, so it's nice to watch Rufus King and Tulsa because those are schools that I was going to potentially go to outside of Milwaukee Lutheran. It's I know people on those teams. These are all familiar teams to us, and they know us, we know them. So it's all nice and fun-hearted.
So at this point now in the school year, you guys still practicing? Are you still competing, or is cheerleading kind of done now until next school year? How's that work?
I think I would like to say we've wrapped it up because our cheer we went for as long as basketball was going. So the basketball is over. I believe cheer is over, but that's all up to our coach.
Yeah,
what she has us doing.
let's wrap it up by talking about you a little bit real fast. When you look at school life, what's your major, and so far, how have your 3 years gone here at Concordia?
Yeah. I'm a social work major with a psychology minor, and it's been okay. The experience is cool. I love my professors. I love like the atmosphere that I've put myself around. I'm on the exec board for BSU.
Nice.
So I've put myself in like areas where and around people that look like me and that look like me and like represent what the type of person I want to be. Also just trying to put myself out there to, like trying to put myself out there to like a different group, a different audience. So like to be more versatile,
Absolutely. And you bring the energy. I love it. Carly, appreciate your time. We'll get that corrected. You're a junior at Concordia.
Yes.
Go over and walk by Jeremy and tell him you want your headshot taken too for the website. That would help.
Okay.
So we'll get it all updated. But appreciate your time. All the best with everything. And look forward to seeing you cheering come next school year.
Okay, thank you.
More of the Falcon Focus coming up in a moment as we turn our focus to women's lacrosse.
Since 1978, Lutheran Church Extension Fund has had the humble privilege of supporting the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod in fulfilling its mission of sharing the gospel.
Thanks to our faithful investors, we provided thousands of church workers, congregations, schools, and organizations with the resources they need to reach more people with the saving name of Christ. It's what we do.
Because our greatest joy comes from seeing LCMS Ministries and her workers thrive, we will continue to make precious resources available, both today and far into the future. It's our promise to you.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund. We want to be part of your great and exciting work.
Welcome back to our extended Falcon Focus, episode number 18. Not one, not two, but three guests as we turn our focus now to women's lacrosse and their head coach, Emily Schessel, kind enough to join us. And truth be told, full disclosure, as we tape this, I'm wearing the same clothes as last week. The women's lacrosse team has not started the 2022 season yet. When this airs or when it's released, they have already played their home opener, that against North Central on March 5th. And now, as this airs, we'll be preparing for another home matchup coming up on March 11th at 3 p.m. against Kelvin. So you can make a prediction if you want about this weekend and see how close you are, but this will air prior to the Kelvin matchup. So let's start, though, before we talk about this 2022 season, recapping 2021 in the spring that would see the Falcons go 4-6, a season that was affected like every other sport, trying to navigate through some COVID-related issues. How would you summarize 2021?
I think as every team would probably say that played last spring and last year in general, we were just trying to have a season and make it through, and we were happy with the ability to play games and be competitive, and getting a couple wins is great, and obviously we're trying to win every game there, but we were just happy to have a season and to play. So we definitely made the most of it. We obviously week to week we're dealing with who we were going to have on the field, who might test positive. So that changed things week to week a lot, and a couple injuries here and there. So we were just kind of happy to have a season and continue growing and work on things and come together as a team throughout the season.
An exciting year in the sense that the NAC sponsoring women's lacrosse for the first time. Was that a pretty smooth transition?
It was. I mean, wish it hadn't happened in the 2020, 2021 COVID realm. I think it would have been a different story if it was, a couple years ago or maybe a couple years down the road. But I think that a lot of teams in the NAC kind of struggled through the last couple of years, and so having it be last year was a little bit tough, but I think it's good that we're there, and it's good that we're moving forward.
When you look at the roster coming into this 2022 season, some new faces. How does the team look so far in training camp?
Yeah, we're a young team. We've got some really solid returners that I think will do well for us and will help us kind of grow this group, and we're hoping to put it all together by the time we get to our conference games. So these non-conference games coming up will really help us get where we need to be.
One of the big positions void needs to be filled is at goalie. How's that competition been looking?
Yeah, it's been great. So we were lucky enough to bring in 2 really solid goalies for this class. So we have 2 freshman goalies. They've been doing a great job competing with each other in practice and really helping each other grow and get to where they need to be for games. So very excited about that.
Like most sports, you have athletes that maybe played one position in high school. It may not be their position in college. It's based on where you see they may fit best on this team. How do you go about trying to figure out who might fit well, who might play well with whom?
Right, yeah. So that's a lot of our game-like scenarios in practice really help us to see those groups that are working well together. And we obviously have our ice hockey players who have not been with us. They just finished their season this past weekend, so they'll be joining us today or tomorrow at practice. They had a couple days off to kind of recover from that season. So that'll be different as well, kind of getting them into our groups that are already working together and seeing where we need to move people to make them the most successful that they can be, our existing players the most successful that they can be, and just kind of see how it's all working together.
You already touched base on it a little bit. The approach of non-conference, and again, this first month it's filled with a number of non-conference matches before you really get into the meat of the NAC schedule. So do you approach these non-conference as more trial and error? Do you kind of see what works, what may not work in preparation for conference play?
Yeah, it's definitely an opportunity to try some things out. We want to make sure that we're pretty set in our systems going into it, obviously to be as competitive as we can be, but this is definitely the time to play with some things and see how people are working together and see how our systems are working. So it might be a chance to take some risks and do some new things as well and tweak things that aren't working.
When you look at the NAC preseason poll, the Falcons are predicted number 3. Aurora, the defending champs, predicted number 1. Concordia, Chicago, they have a new head coach this season. They're predicted 2nd. Do you put a lot of stock or make anything of preseason polls?
Well, I think, it's all based on how everyone did last season.
Sure.
So I think that there's a little bit to be said about what those say, but we also have entirely new freshman classes that have come in. So I think that definitely changes the dynamic quite a bit.
You've been here since day one, this being the 12th season of Falcon Women's Lacrosse. I still can't believe every time we do an interview, it's like we add another year, but this
been
is
a long time.
12th season of Falcon Women's Lacrosse. It seems like this yesterday was match 1, and all of us kind of going, what are we doing? But when you look at this program, obviously you've seen it from the beginning up. How have you seen this program grow? How have you seen this sport grow, not just here on campus, but just in the surrounding area?
Yeah, we've seen the sport grow a lot, and it's grown a lot at the college level, too. So it was growing at the high school level, which is why we started here, and then it's, the college level has exploded in the Midwest in the last 12 years. I think the college level has grown a little too quickly, I think, for the Midwest, because now we have all of these teams to fill, and the high school level has not kept up with the growth rate that it was at. So I think it's made it a little bit more challenging as more schools have added, and you've seen that in some circumstances with schools like Loris, who have now dropped their lacrosse program because they weren't able to sustain it. So there's definitely been some ups and downs in the recruiting. It was getting really easy for a while as we were becoming successful, and then we had all these new teams in the area that sprung up, and so then it got a little bit harder. You had to work a little bit harder to get those kids here. So there's definitely been some ups and downs with that. And then COVID right now, the past couple of years, I think has really changed a lot of high school athletes and college athletes' mentalities as far as what they're looking to do in their careers, what they're looking to do in college. So we've come up against a lot of people who are not looking to play anymore in college. So that's kind of a cultural shift that we've been fighting as well.
You kind of reference it, though, when you look at, the whole recruiting process from where you were, say, that inaugural season versus now. Yeah. Does it get a little bit easier when you have a track record now to go up to an athlete and say, hey, here's what we've done these last number of years versus, well, we're going to start the program from scratch. You can be part of something and build something. But it's also maybe more competitive now, being that, as you said, there are more college options in the sport.
Yeah, it's definitely a different sell. So you really have to decide what your program stands for and what your program's all about, and make sure that you're really showcasing that to the athletes that you're talking to.
Like every new program, there are growing pains, and you will go through winless or low win totals. Falcon Women's Lacrosse, obviously no exception. Was there ever a time, I'm curious to know this, for you, did you ever look in the mirror? Did you ever kind of go, what did I get myself into?
I would say that would definitely be the first 2 years that I was here, when I had no experience recruiting, hadn't been a head coach, had only been an assistant coach for a short period of time. And I think I've talked about this before, but luckily at that time, my mom was still coaching college lacrosse and had been. She had a 45-year career at Williams College, so I was on the phone with her every day. Like, what am I doing here? How do I do this? Help me out here. So.
And every coach has been there at some point in their career. How do you feel like in that time then? Okay, so you go through some of those tough years and obviously built it into a championship program. How have you grown as a coach?
Tremendously. I think I thought I knew a lot more than I did at the time, and I think I've grown every year, and the assistant coaches that I've had have helped me grow and brought in new ideas and different ideas, and the players that we've brought in from different areas of the country who have been coached by different people. I love to see the different styles with which they play, the ways that they've been coached and taught. So I think I've just grown tremendously, and this game itself has changed so much. The rules have changed drastically every 2 years in the last 8 years or so. And it's been frustrating, but also fun. I think they're getting the game to a point where it's a very exciting game to be a part of, more exciting. And so it's been a constant learning process, trying to keep up with those new rules and the intended and unintended consequences that they have on the game and the play.
I'll say to add to that, it's more fan friendly or more viewer friendly as with some of these changes. Speaking of new programs and programs that probably will go through some growing pains, MSOE announced that they will be adding women's lacrosse coming up, not this season, but next school year. How exciting is it to have a potential new rival when you look at proximity?
Yeah, I think it's great to have another team joining the NAC will be amazing, and I think just have that close competition will be really good for us as well. But on the recruiting front, same deal, more teams to compete with. So just have to make sure that we're able to sustain that boom that we had.
You have the challenges of getting used to new athletes on the roster on an annual basis, but this year, first time in a few years, you have a new assistant coach.
I do.
And so what goes into that whole process of just trying to get your new assistant up to speed with what you're about, what this program is about, making sure you guys are on the same page?
Yeah, I mean, luckily we've had quite a number of conversations, kind of coaching styles and different philosophical conversations about coaching, and we are really on the same page. So I think I was lucky in that we brought somebody in who every time she says something, I'm like, yes, that's exactly how I would say it. So I think that I'm just we're lucky that we found somebody both for the women's hockey program and the lacrosse program that really fits in very well. Yeah.
Well, as we mentioned, when this episode gets released, hope to see you out at Fitting Field, the next Falcon Women's Lacrosse matchup coming up on March 11th. That's a Friday, this Friday at 3 o'clock against Kelvin. But let's wrap it up by asking you about what you see as being keys. If this team is to be successful and, again, make a run at that NAC title here in 2022, what do you see? What needs to happen?
I think that our leadership just needs to keep doing what they're doing and getting the rest of our team, the newer people on our team, the freshman class, and getting them all kind of on board with what this team is all about. And I think we just need to keep up the work ethic that we've been exhibiting in practice and then tweak those little things that are not where they need to be yet. So,
well, as always, Emily, appreciate your time. Thanks, and we'll see you out at Fitting Field all the best this season.
All right, thank you.
That's Emily Shesso, the head coach for Falcon Women's Lacrosse. That's it for Falcon Focus. Again, we're off the next 2 weeks. Back at it after spring break coming up on March 29th right here for Falcon Focus on the Falcon Athletic Network.